Okay, we're at our live meeting for lesson 4, and Larky Sarger is here.
Jacob Barthelemy is here.
Morgan Copeland is here.
Sarah is here, but we cannot hear you, Sarah. You might have to change your settings for your mic. Still don't hear you.
Jessica's McBride's here. Sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so we are all present.
I think we're missing one. I just got a text. I guess Jeremy McMillan88@gmail.com.
Oh, I didn't invite him. He's new? Is he new to our thing?
Well, no, she uses her husband's account or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, let me go add her real quick. Let me see. Okay. So we have 6 people in our group then.
Yes.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we can, sir.
Okay, my microphone wasn't plugged in all the way.
Oh, perfect. Okay. All right, hey.
Okay, awesome, thanks.
And so we just all said our name and who is here, so if you want to say it, you can go ahead and say
Okay, yeah,
it.
Megan McMillan.
Okay. All right, so we are going to start with the different topics. Sorry, sometimes my classes all get mixed up together, but this topic was for the questions were like, which social group did you grow up in, right? Or something like that.
Oh, you're taking Family 430.
Oh, yes. What
Yeah, I
class
just did
are
that
we?
assignment this morning.
We're 460.
Yeah, this one was what social media platform did we use?
I gotta go to that class.
Yeah, this one is for effectively advocating online.
Okay. Okay.
Who's your teacher for 430?
Flint, I think.
Is it a girl?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think we're in the same 430 thing then.
Oh, really? She's
Yeah.
she's young. She's like a young girl.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
I took that class last semester with her. She's really good.
That's cool. Do you love it? I just have all my classes so mixed together that I just don't even know which class. I'm like, I don't even know what group we're meeting with. That's awesome.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I took most of that class last semester, but I was in a car accident, so I had to drop out.
Shoot.
So I have most of the homework done. It's kind of nice.
Well,
there you go.
Look on the bright side. Okay, Jacob, do you want to start us off then? Or who has it pulled up? I'm still pulling it up. Does anyone have anything pulled up to start us off
I
with?
have a few things written down. I mean, I could start it up.
Okay.
First thing I had was just what platforms did you guys use and what did you post, I guess?
I'm trying
So I use Facebook because that's really the only like social media that I have. I don't really use anything else. But my topic that I picked to like advocate in behalf of is divorce. And I don't have it pulled up, but I shared a quote from I'm gonna have to pull it up real quick. It was a really good quote. It was talking about how like it was indirectly talking about marriage, but the picture behind it was a couple that had just gotten married. And it was something along the lines of you treat things with respect that you want to last a while. You don't like even it wasn't necessarily, just talking about marriage, but it was like you don't leave things out in the rain if you don't want them rusted and things of that nature. You make sure you care for them in a way that will help them last. And I thought that was really, really good and applicable for my topic because I thought we had to go with our topic. I can get it to pull up. I'll share it with you guys. I was not 100% prepared today. I was going to use the extra hour to finish reading and everything. Sorry.
No, you're fine. While you're pulling that up, I used Instagram. Actually, I think it posted to my Facebook too, because sometimes my Instagram account is linked with my Facebook, but I actually never go on Facebook. But I just made like a little meme, and I had a picture of my family, and I took a picture of them praying, and then I said, a family that prays together stays together. And so then I just posted that, and I just talked about, like, I just put a little quick blurb on the bottom how even when our days are really, really rough days, at least when we come together as a family in the evening and have like our family prayer, we always end with hugs and so it just, even if you've had a hard day, it just like totally helps the rest of our evening go better, even though it's bedtime for most of our family. It's still like, it definitely changes the whole spirit in the house. And so I just kind of said that on my face or on my Instagram, and like a couple people were like, oh, I love this is so great. They were LDS, but other people who were not LDS liked it, so that's good, I guess. But I never, like, with Elder Bednar's talk, when he said, be authentic and consistent, edify and uplift, like, I never really thought to always, like, edify and uplift, but I actually am not one to post, like, oh, I'm having such a bad day today. Like, I've never been like that. I just have never liked that. So when I was listening to his devotional or whatever, and he said that, it just made me be like, oh, I'm so glad that I don't do that. Because there's so many people that it's always just like negative Nancy's, and they're like, oh, today was the worst day ever. My kids were screaming and I wanted to rip my hair out and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? Like, who is that uplifting? That's not uplifting any of us. So
yeah, I call that high school posting, where you're just looking for attention, so you just have to say something. Yeah. Usually if I see that, they get, a one-way ticket to an unfollow.
Yeah, so. That's awesome.
Well, that kind of goes along with the whole dragonfly effect thing, because it was talking about how if you like, when somebody's happy, it tends to like radiate and make others happy, and it can have like a lasting effect that's like a year. So it really changes everybody's like mood when you post something happy. I guess it goes the same way if you post something like upsetting or depressing, So. Sorry. And I found my post. Says, if you want something to last forever, you treat it differently. You shield it and protect it. You never abuse it. You don't expose it to the elements. You don't make it common or ordinary. If it ever becomes tarnished, you lovingly polish it until it gleams like new. It becomes special because you've made it so, and it grows more beautiful and precious as time goes by. And that's from Elder F. Burton Howard. And when I captioned it on Facebook, I just challenged everybody to think about the things that were most precious in their lives and how they treat them. So
that's pretty good. I just shared a video that I found. I saw a video the other day where it was a bunch of questions that were being asked to people with Down syndrome that you would never ask them to their face. And they were reading off the cards and stuff. And I just thought I'd look at it because I was like, oh, this is interesting, But the more I was watching, I was like, this is actually really cool, because it really got me thinking just about life and everything. Like, just the way people with Down syndrome just see the world. It was really cool to kind of see that. And personally, after I was done watching it, I felt like I took a lot of things for granted. I was like, wow, man, I don't appreciate a lot of the things that they appreciated. I know two of the guys shared how much they appreciate hugs and stuff. And they're like, yeah, when you hug someone, and it just makes me really happy. And they were explaining how they felt about it and what it means to them. And honestly, like, there's so many times where I hug someone or hug my wife, but I didn't think about that. And I was like, wow, I think I should probably think about that a little bit more. It was really cool, really powerful. I had to share it because it was really cool. Definitely made me think out of the box.
I didn't share anything like super insightful or churchy or anything that was great. But okay, go. Sorry. But my post said, you're a mom when you wish there was a drive-through for everything. And I just kind of feel like that's my life right now. 3 out of my 4 kids, including myself, have the flu right now. And not even gonna lie, we've done McDonald's and Wendy's and Taco Bell for lunch every night this week. And I just feel like sometimes on Facebook especially, well, no, Pinterest especially, but on Facebook as well. Okay, go. Anyway, sorry. Anyways, I feel like that a lot of the time, like you see these moms who just like have their stuff all together, and it's just like, oh, my house is clean, and I cooked a 5-course meal, and I ironed my sheets, and I'm like, I'm lucky if my sheets are clean, but and I just feel like with all that, like there's such a standard to live up to. Like, let's be real for a minute. Being a parent's hard, and we don't all have time to iron our sheets and to cook a 5-course meal and to, I don't know, all that stuff. So that's what I posted, because I think sometimes it's good to feel like, oh, there's another mom who's eating out every night. Oh, thank goodness. Like, I'm not alone. And that was kind of my thought behind it. I didn't go spiritual. I didn't go marriage. I didn't, because I mean, not that stuff's not great. Like, I think that stuff's terrific. But I wasn't in the mood. It was a bad day.
You were using the authenticity side of it. Sarah.
I was.
Or Jessica.
It's okay. I was very off. I need to stop. Go away. Anyways, so yeah, that's what I did.
So for mine, I kind of went the same route as Jessica. I didn't do anything churchy or spiritual or anything like that. So I posted this thing that says, silence is gold unless you have kids, and silence is just suspicious. And then what I wrote with it, I said, even Ryder being 9 months old, this is 100% true. He's so adventurous and keeps me extra busy. I wouldn't have him any other way. So happy to be his mama. So the reason I did that, so one of my other classes, I was reading something in there, and it specifically said that a lot of time, like talking about like people not wanting to have kids and like different challenges that come with it and how it affects the parents. And so I was like, this way it kind of puts a positive spin on it, where it's like, just because your child gets into everything, like that's not a bad thing. Like, I mean, he pulls the trash down and starts pulling everything out of the trash can and all kinds of stuff all the time. But it's like, that's not a negative thing for my parenting. That's not a negative thing on him or being a parent at all. It's just part of what happens with having a kid, and it's part of having a positive outlook and understanding that they're just kids and that's what they do. So that's why I shared that.
So for my post that I made, I just made a post on Facebook. And so I noticed that I haven't posted since I got married like 5 months ago. And so I didn't want it to be something like totally random and out of the blue, So I just made a simple post. Like, I just posted a picture of me and my husband from when we got married, and just like, said a little thing about being married and, hashtag families are forever. So it was really simple. But I liked in Elder Bednar's talk how he was talking about being authentic and consistent. And that was just something that I was like, man, like I should work on that, because I used to be like too caught up in Facebook and social media, So like I didn't want to get too caught up in it. And so I just like stopped using it. But now it's like, I'm not really doing any good on it either by not using it. So yeah, just finding that balance of like not getting caught up in it, but like using it for good purposes and like, to spread goodness. But yeah.
That's really cool. The other, I guess, prompt that was put out was, what did you learn from sharing it, I guess? I know for me, I mean, I don't know, I didn't have this gigantic breakthrough moment, But it was really cool. It just made me think out of the box. And as it related to this class, definitely the stuff we talked about over the week, I really thought about, I guess, how much would I post, and how important it is, I guess. I'm much like you. I never used Facebook. I mean, since I got married, I don't even before then. I posted like once every couple months, I guess. But just putting it up, I guess, was pretty cool. I mean, it really made me think because I was looking through what I had posted on Facebook over the past 2 years, which was like 13 posts. And I was like, I guess if people look at this, it really does reflect. And I don't know. I guess that was my lesson that I got out of it.
I would say the lesson that I kind of learned was, like a lot of you guys said, yeah, I didn't really post anything churchy or anything like that, and I never do. Like I never even think of it. But the thought that came to me was, I mean, why not occasionally post something like spiritual or uplifting, even if it's like a link to like a conference talk or like something like that. So I just thought to myself, I was like, I should probably do something like that more often. I mean, I mostly just post pictures of like my kids, and that's like how we get updated, but like keep updated with my family. But I mean, why not just post a positive spiritual thing? I mean, to me, it's like, I don't need to be embarrassed at all by that, because I think sometimes that's like kind of how we get. We're like, oh, we have all these people that follow us, and they'll think we're just weird and being like, oh, that's a Jesus girl over there, we're not following her, or whatever. Sometimes I think we have that fear. At least sometimes I think that's what I have a fear of. But I'm like, oh, who cares? Why not? Like, if they don't want to follow me, then they don't have to follow me. But if it does uplift someone or even helps like bring a missionary opportunity about, then I think awesome. So that's kind of what I learned.
So for me, I kind of like nobody really commented or liked or anything from my post, and I think it was because it was more like spiritually related. But from after reading all the material on Monday, I normally don't like do anything that's going to take the chance to offend somebody, because I'm just a very non-conflicting person. I hate conflict. And I normally don't post anything like this, but there was an article that I read, and it was about this woman who was a model, and she was an androgynous, I think it was, where she could model as both a male and a female. And one of her quotes in the article, it really got to me, because she said that gender was a social construct. And I was just like, that's not right. I've got to, and I think a lot of it's coming from the class, like everything that we're learning about advocating for what we believe in, and like it really got to me. So I quoted I quoted the Family Proclamation, and I shared what I believed, and I was like, I know that this might offend you, and I'm really not trying to. So if it does, I apologize in advance, but this is what I believe, and I don't believe that gender is a social construct. And there were a few reactions to it, but none that were negative. It was just people saying, I fully agree with this, and it made me feel really good, because it felt like I needed to share my beliefs on that topic. That was like a really kind of enlightening moment, I guess. So these lessons are doing something good for me, because I'm actually taking the time to speak up on what I believe, which I normally don't do. So pretty excited about that.
So for me, I didn't get very many likes or comments or anything on mine, and it was shared both on Instagram and Facebook. But one of the things that I noticed is, so a few weeks ago, my husband and I had to go up to Rexburg for a baby blessing, and then we decided to go to the Idaho Falls Temple open house. So we went, and we like have a picture with the temple, and I posted that, and things like that get more likes than the other thing that I posted. So I thought that was interesting to me, at least, because the spiritual thing with the temple had a lot more, like, I mean, I think I only got like 4 or 5 likes on what I posted about motherhood. And then like I post this picture of us with the temple. So it's, you know, this families are forever aspect. And I get like 60 or 70 likes on it. So I just thought that was interesting that the more spiritual thing got more likes than the part that was less of a spiritual sense. So that was something that I thought was interesting that I learned from it. So
Something that I kind of find interesting about posting on Facebook and stuff is just a lot of people don't understand this, and I know that I didn't understand it until it became an issue, not an issue, but until it was brought to my attention. But a lot of employers actually will go and troll your Facebook page to see kind of like what you're posting. And you can get a job, or you can get not a job. What is that called? Not get the job because of what you posted on your Facebook. My husband does a lot of hiring, and he'll come home and he'll check people's Facebooks, and he'll see what they put, like pictures or posts and stuff. And I mean, because of the kind of, it says more about the kind of person you are than an interview does. And I just think that that's kind of, I don't think that's something that a lot of people think about. They're like, oh, well, it's my personal life, it's private. But it's not private. It's out there for anyone to see. And you've got to be careful about the image that you're giving off and what one post says about you, I guess.
Yeah, my brother shares a bunch of dumb stuff to mine, so I know when I need to get my career going, I got to erase my Facebook page.
If you think about it, what you post on social media really says a lot about who you are as a person. So that's like doing that as an employer is a really good way to see the kind of people that you're hiring. So, I mean, if you go on somebody's page and you see a bunch of like, I don't know, I can't think of the word, like questionable links or posts or pictures or anything, you're going to be like, oh, well, they may not be the best person for this position. So, I mean, I feel like it says a lot. And for me, mine is pretty much filled with like funny videos with baby animals in it and pictures of my kids. So, I mean, I don't really have much that would like set people off and be like, oh, no, we don't want to hire her, or we don't want her working with us or anything like that. A lot of it's just my kids and like post about motherhood because that's really all I have going on in my life right now. So.
Sorry, my cat's being dumb. As far as other points, I didn't really see any aside from everything we've talked about, I guess.
Well, we have to go for so long, but we could talk about the actual like the different wings in the dragonfly. So grab attention, engage, take action, and focus. And I don't know, we could apply this to not even social media, but just like any kind of contacts that we're trying to make with through email or anything like that. It just talks about how it's important to make sure that we are grabbing the attention, that we're engaging, and then we're taking the action, and we're identifying a single concrete and measurable goal to focus on. And sometimes I think we kind of get carried away when we're trying to explain ourselves in different things, whatever it may be, and we aren't necessarily identifying a single concrete and measurable goal in whatever we're doing, making an email, doing social media, doing an assignment. I mean, whatever it is, you can apply this little dragonfly effect in your life. But actually, I think a good place will be the workplace to apply this, especially when you are sending out emails to bosses. Like that was huge. Like I don't work anymore because I stay at home, but before when I used to work in the office, like that was a major thing that we had to do. Like we just had to don't have like a bunch of like hullabaloo in the email. We just had to make sure we're identifying and we're pointing out what we need to get done. And so I just think that that'll be something really great that we can use in the workplace. Any thoughts on that, or what would be like the best way for any of us to go about making sure that we kind of follow those wings of the dragonfly? I don't know. Maybe we could talk about that. Any ideas? Or I can say something else. I don't know.
In the workplace?
Yeah, like how can we do it like in the workplace?
Honestly, I mean, they kind of speak for themselves. I mean, taking action in the workplace, focusing, engaging, grabbing attention, I guess, is a little more loose. But I know if you, personally, like at my work, especially with, well, my last day is Saturday, but I was working at a skate shop for 3 years, skate and snowboard shop. And it was just, I don't know, one thing that we always made a point of was always getting our stuff done, taking action and focusing. This place was actually pretty organized. They had like action plans and things to do and everything needs to be done. But as far as the whole grabbing attention thing, I was really one of the only ones to actually go out and do everything, get everything done, contact buyers, make sure payroll was on point and doing hiring and all that stuff. And that's the only reason why I moved up so fast, was just through doing all of that stuff. And of course, product knowledge, understanding everything that we had. But I guess in the workplace, that's how it would work. And people notice it.
Yeah. No, I think that's perfect, Jacob. That's perfect.
So for me, because I worked at the same place for 2 years when I got married and lived in Rexburg. And one of the things that they were, because obviously, like I worked at a call center. And so obviously, like there's times where and it was an inbound call center. So it wasn't like we were making phone calls. So it was either busy or it wasn't. We couldn't really control that. And so one of the things that they did, because they had a problem with we were having a lot of errors come back. And they attributed a lot of that to the college students doing their homework when they weren't on a phone call. So we ended up having that banned, and they like have this page where it goes through and it talks, because we did wedding invitations, so there's a lot of misspellings or things done wrong, and so we had to go through and study all of that. And they started doing like spelling quizzes, and they had worksheets for us to do where we had to go through invitations that were wrong. So it's a lot of it, like the more focused you are, the better you do at your job, because you know what you're doing, you know how to do it. Whereas people who are like, oh, well, there's some downtime, I'm not going to do anything. And at least I grew up as well being told that if you aren't actually working while you're at work, then you're just stealing from the company, because it's not being honest to get paid for doing nothing. So that's just, and I guess like, and with sending emails at work too, like there was a lot of, just get to the point. What's the issue? That's what you need to state at the beginning, and then just say, what needs to get done, and then be done with it, instead of explain like the whole situation of where, for me, I didn't explain the whole situation of the customer when I was on a customer, on the phone with them for like an hour, and they were explaining to me the whole issue. So I didn't, have this big long email. I just got to the point. This is what it is. This is what needs to get done, and make sure they understand that there is an issue and how they can fix it. So.
Does anybody else have anything to share?
No, but what else?
Oh,
Go ahead. Yeah, go, please.
Okay, well, this might not even apply. I'm not really all
Just
there right now, so if it's not, I'm just killing time. But one thing, so I don't work. Well, I do work. I stay at home, and it's so one thing I noticed, just kind of going off focus, when I'm like talking on the phone or when I'm doing schoolwork or listening to my headphones and trying to multitask or something, that's when my kids like seriously lose their minds. As you can see, I'm trying to do something and they lose their minds. But when I actually pay attention to them and sit on the floor, just 1 second, and I play with them and I give them my full undivided attention, things go so much more smoothly that day than when I'm trying to do my own thing or like talk on the phone or, you know, does that make, I don't know, does that apply? I think it kind of does, maybe it doesn't. But, okay.
You could put that under the making it personal category. Giving someone a reason to care. So your kids really care when you're not focusing on them. They want you to focus on them. You could put it in that category, I guess. Anyone else?
Just going off of that, literally when my youngest was born 2 years ago, I was I wasn't going to classes that semester, but I went the next semester. And literally every time I sat down at my computer to work on something, because I'm long distance, but every single time I sat down to do something, even though I had just played with them for hours, if I was trying to get an assignment finished, it would be instant. As soon as I sat, they would be all over me trying to get me to pay attention to them. It was extremely difficult to get anything done. And I'm honestly surprised I'm almost done right now because, like, with school, because of how often that happens, and it still happens. So my youngest is 2, and anytime I have to do something, he'll come up to me and go, "Mama, I want juice," or "I want you to come in here and sit with me," and stuff like that. So it's definitely difficult, and I think it does apply because once you give them that attention, they'll like take it and then they'll be done and they'll be happy. But as soon as you can't give them attention, they want it, even if you've been playing with them all day or doing anything with them.
So off of that, does anyone have any ideas of how we can give like those that are seeking attention? You know, I mean, within our families, or whether it be our spouses or our children or our pets, our cats who need attention. I mean, any ideas that anyone can think of, like right off the bat? Because I know I kind of feel like you guys were like, at least that's how I feel with this class. Sometimes I'm like, man, I'm taking these like classes and it's like family, focus on your family. And then I'm like taking all this time away from my family to do these classes. And it's like so frustrating. It's like a double-edged sword. I'm like, ugh, why? So like, I don't know, any ideas that you guys have that you think would be like super helpful in helping people get attention that need it or seek it?
I honestly don't know if this applies. It's just something that I remember from a class. I think it might have been a parenting class, just from some class. And like all I remember is the Lord will bless us when we put our best first. And so I just try to keep that in mind. And usually, if I don't get frustrated with my kids and I pay attention to them when they want it, I usually get more done later, and I get it done faster than I normally would. So that's the only thing I can think of. I just keep that in the front of my mind when they're wanting attention and I don't really have time to give it to them.
So I'm actually very fortunate. My husband currently works for the school district, so he is home by 3 o'clock. So I take care of my son in the morning, and then in the afternoon, my husband gets home, and I say, okay, I will go in my room. I'll go do my homework, and my husband gives him attention. So we kind of take turns. Yeah, and then he was so grumpy, and then we started this conversation. He decided he wasn't going to be grumpy, and I started. But so, and another thing that works really well for me is I have a Google Calendar that will send me notifications and tells me what time things need to get done and when they need to get done. And so it schedules my time, and so I schedule in time for like even in the afternoon. So I'm not just sitting in my room from 3 o'clock until whenever. I schedule my time so that in the afternoons I still have time to go be and talk to my husband and spend time with my son and things like that. So a lot of it comes down to me scheduling my time. And like I said, I'm really fortunate. My husband is home by 3 o'clock and he doesn't work on the weekends. So that has helped a lot for me. And I know last semester, my son was struggling a lot at the beginning because I was the one putting him to sleep before that. And then when my husband started to be the one to put him to sleep, it was really hard for him to actually fall asleep. And so there were a couple times where I was like, well, I have this thing due here in like 30 minutes. But I was like, I can't focus if my son's freaking out and crying. So, there were a couple times where I just didn't turn in certain assignments because I was like, I would rather take care of my son than let him cry while I'm trying to do this stuff. So that was one of the things, because like Sarah has said, like, it goes back to, well, my family comes first. My family came before my school. And this semester turned out fine. And I passed all my classes fine. So that was what I got from that.
I found that at least I homeschool my kids. And so I find that like, if we spend the morning on their school and I'm kind of all up in their face telling them to do things. And then in the afternoon, they don't want to be around me so much. So I don't know. That's kind of horrible to say, but it's true. So anyways, so my older kids kind of go and do their own thing in the afternoon. And that's when I'm able to focus on my schoolwork. But my youngest, my little girl, she is not homeschooled, so she doesn't get that attention in the morning. And I find that like if I sit at the kitchen table with her, and I give her a coloring book and some crayons, and she'll sit next to me, and she'll sit there for hours and just color next to me while I'm doing schoolwork or reading. I just try to like integrate her into what I'm doing. Then it seems like, I don't know, seems like things go easier sometimes not. And I give them like snacks and crackers, and she sits there and does her thing. But I really like what both of you guys said, that your family comes first before school, and I think that's something that something I struggle with. I'm sure other people struggle with it too, because you're paying for your education. You've already put the time and money into this, that it's kind of hard sometimes to say, oh, well, I gotta take care of my kids. I can't turn in this assignment, or I can't do this reading. But in the grand scheme of things, it's gonna be more important to take care of your family than it is to retake a class or to get a B instead of an A or whatever.
And we're really fortunate to go to a church-based school, because a lot of the times, if you're having like family complications or issues that are preventing you from doing your schoolwork, teachers are really understanding of that. And I've really, this might sound bad, but I've really like relied on that, having teachers that understand how difficult it is to get stuff done when you have children, because my kids are so young, and a lot of them understand exactly where I'm coming from. So I kind of rely on that at times. I'm like, look, I've tried all week. My kids have been sick all week. And I was like, can we work something out so I can make up at least part of the assignment? And a lot of the times teachers will let you if you've been having issues with your family. So that's really nice about our school too.
So one of the quotes that I really liked from the Dragonfly reading, it's specifically talking about like making changes, like in the big social sense, but I think it can relate especially to families as well. It says, people are often disillusioned by the idea of tackling a seemingly large social goal. It is easy to believe that you as an individual can't have any real impact. However, when you remember that you have the power to affect just one human in a measurable way, the illusion of helplessness dissipates and you feel inspired to make a difference. So just like because sometimes we get overwhelmed with like, oh my goodness, like there's so many things that are happening and that like, these things need to change. And like, there's just a lot of stuff that goes on that we feel overwhelmed with. But when we just like start with small and simple goals, and I like how it says, like we have the power to affect just one human in one measurable way. As we make those small differences, then it'll help us to, feel inspired and motivated to keep going, and, we'll see that difference happening. But.
Cool. I think we covered a lot of great points, and we have hit 45 minutes about. Any other ideas or quotes or any other ideas anyone wants to share? Or does everyone feel good? If you feel good, you could just put a thumbs up. Sorry, go ahead, Jessica.
Oh, I just have a question. Who is going to do the two? I mean, yeah, I feel good, but I don't. Who's going to do the 2-minute thing at the end? Does somebody volunteer for that already?
No. Anyone that wants to volunteer can, or I can. Doesn't matter to me.
I'll just do it. So we had a lot of good things said. We talked about a lot of cool stuff. We talked about the dragonfly stuff and how it applies to the workplace. We've also discussed what we shared and how we feel about it. It's not 2 minutes, but we've done the 45 minutes, so I think we're good.
Okay, perfect. Do you want to? I can always. Well, at least next week I can start our meeting again too, if we want. Do you guys want me to start the meeting? Is that easy for everyone? If I start it, okay. Do we want?
Do you want to start having it at 1?
That's what I was just going to ask. Do you guys want to change the time? Is it easier to do it at 1 o'clock? Is it easier to do it at 2? What do you guys want to do?
I'm fine at whatever time.
Personally, I think 1 works really well. I mean, the past few weeks, I've found myself just waiting until 2 and then waiting until 3 to start my day. So.
Okay. Anyone else have an issue?
1 o'clock works for me to do it
Okay.
then.
How about you, Jessica?
I can meet at 1. That's fine.
Okay. So we are all in agreement. Morgan, you said yes. So we're all in agreement that we can meet at 1. So next week we will meet at 1. I will send the invites out, and I am stopping the broadcast. And thanks, everybody.